Live.
Hello, viewers. This is TSCC Teens Focus, the teenage community of the Saints Christian Center. And today we'll be talking about teenagers handling emotions. And with me, there is Sarah. I am Sarah, and I have Shiro, Lisa, and Stella. And not to waste your time because we are running out of time. We will just go straight because we started late. We don't want to keep you waiting for what we prepared for you. So, on the topic of teenagers handling their emotions, let me allow my fellow teenagers to introduce what emotions are while they introduce themselves at the same time because time has run out. So I'll also request you, my co-hosts, to be precise with your presentation such that we can finish on time. Thank you. Shiro? Okay, anyone who is ready? Or I go first. All right, so according to me, emotions are, you can describe them as the internal state of yourself at that time. Like right now, maybe I feel happy. Those are emotions I feel. Maybe sad, that's still an emotion. Or anything that you feel that you are at that time, that at that specific moment, let's say that you can be smiling, but inside you are sad, and that is what you actually are, not what you see on your face. Because at the end of the day, the Bible tells us that we are the person we are inside. We are the person we are with. We are the person we are according to what our consciousness is, and our consciousness is in the inside of us. So, emotions, let's say it's the interperson we are, or I mean, the internal person we are, not the external person. Like I said about smiling when you are sad, at the end of the day, you are sad, you are not happy. Even if you are smiling outwardly, you are sad inside. So that is what you are at that specific time. Let me welcome my fellow hosts to tell us what they think emotions are.
Hello, viewers. My name is Stella. According to me, emotions are the feelings one has towards something. For example, love, sadness, happiness, and many others. Thank you.
All
Hello
right.
viewers, I'm Lisa. And me, what I would like to say about emotions is that emotions, emotion, this is a strong feeling driving from any circumstances, mood, or relationships with others. And the examples of emotions are love, joy, happiness, anger, and so many others.
All right, Shiro.
Hi, viewers. I'm Shio. I think emotions are just everything everyone has said. Feelings, internal feelings that you have. Yeah, those are emotions. Anything that you feel is an emotion.
So, on the part of what emotions are, we have come to realize that they come with the five senses. This is let's say, the little bit of the scientific bit of it. They come with your senses, with your touch, hearing, what are the other senses? Help me. There's touch, hearing, and yeah, seeing. Yeah, those ones. So those things will always translate into emotions that can be described as happiness, joy, sadness. So what you see will give you an interpretation of what you feel. Let's say you see someone who, like, actually, it is believed that a lot of people will fall sick after they have seen someone being sick. Usually it happens with children. So your sense of sight has encouraged your inner person to copy what your sight has seen, and that is what you become inside after you have let your sight control what you feel inside. So we have looked at it as emotion come about because of the senses that we have talked about: seeing, touching, hearing, tasting, and smelling. You can taste, let's say, people who love food, you taste the food, and the next minute you make a conclusion that this person is not a good cook, and the food gives you that feeling of not, there's that satisfaction with eating good food. Let's say you eat chicken from KFC, and then you eat chicken from, I don't know, maybe downtown. And then after you give comparisons, this thing, I'm not repeating it again. At the end of the day, inside you, you have felt that negativity towards the chicken at downtown, and then you have felt appreciation towards the chicken of KFC. And those are still emotions. Usually, emotions, we look at them as, let's say, usually focus on maybe anger and happiness. And those are the major emotions we always focus on, forgetting all the others that are maybe, let's say, disgust, and the other ones is appreciation. And because let us give an example of the gospel of thank you that we have been told. You can say it with your mouth when inside you are not actually thankful, when inside you have not felt the appreciation. So in that case, inside you is I don't know what is the opposite of not appreciating. What is the opposite of not being yeah, inside you there is ungratefulness, and that is what you actually are, but outsidely you're displaying what isn't inside of you. So yeah, emotions aren't only anger and happiness or love and peace. They are also those things that you unconsciously feel at that moment, like we gave the example of KFC and the downtown chicken. So, not to waste your time, we will look at teenagers' approach to emotions. But before that, I have come to the conclusion that emotions have been designed by God to help us rate our, let's say, our what our days. Because like in the story of creation, God saw that Abraham, no, I mean, what is this? Adam wasn't happy, as Adam was not satisfied with being alone, and that was an emotion. And God also saw it and found a way of solving that emotion and found a way of making that a good emotion. He didn't go ahead and tell Abraham, Adam, after all these things I have done for you, I have put you in the Garden of Eden, I have given you food to eat, I have given you ABC, and your life is perfect, and you still have the sense to feel alone after everything I have done for you. Instead, he found the root cause of Adam not being satisfied with being alone, and he solved it. And that way we can also apply that same thing with our lives. You can always, instead of trying to pretend you're not angry, you can try to find out, why am I angry? And in that way you will be able to find a solution for that. So teenagers' approach to emotions, since I am with the teenagers, I will let them tell us how they approach emotions. How do you approach sadness, happiness, anger, and all that? Thank you. Lisa, you look great.
Okay, me, what I would like to say is that before the approach is that emotions are not bad and they are not evil, but the way we allow the emotions to take control over us is what is evil in them. So I would like to talk about anger. Well, anger is not bad, but most people take anger okay, they allow anger to take control over them. And I'll give an example of myself. Well, one time at home, I was mopping. You know, at our home, when visitors come at our home, they like over welcoming them to enter in the house with shoes. Eh? And me, I just finished mopping and the house was clean. Seriously, the house was clean. So there was a visitor who came at our home and just entered in the house, and it had rained. It was muddy outside. So the visitor just entered the house with his muddy shoes. And seriously, I just finished mopping. I felt anger. I left what I was doing. I just looked at the man, even I didn't greet him. But inside me, I said, that's not good. So I just I just calmed down myself and went and greeted him. And that was it.
Yeah, so on that part of anger, you could have, you have talked about trying to find out why you're angry. You realize that he came with shoes that were muddy, right? So you realize that you will never be able to tell him that because maybe were you younger than him or he was.
He was older than me.
Yeah, so you'll never be able to maybe tell him to his face that I don't like you entering with your shoes that are muddy. Maybe you could find a way of telling him that can you please clean your shoes? Or you offer for him that let me bring for you water
No.
before.
You see, at our home, first we are young, so it's the big people who tell the visitors to enter in the house with their shoes. So me, I just kept quiet, and I knew that no one was going to mop the house after the visitor had gone apart from me. So I was very angry, and I had nothing to do.
Okay. So in that case, still, you can always find a way of not making it happen again. You will never pretend that you weren't annoyed, and you will never get used to someone entering the house with shoes that are muddy, even if you want it, even if you want to be happy about it. It will never happen that someone will come with shoes that are muddy and you'll be like, oh, okay, this is good and this is nice. So maybe you'll find to, I don't know, you'll find a way of encouraging them to maybe clean their shoes on the rug, find a way of encouraging them to, I don't know, you offer them water before they can go through. So, Shiro,
Um, I think I'll just talk about the emotion of anxiety. That all of us, I guess, the first time you're coming up in front of the camera, you're tensed, you're freaking out, you everything is just playing in your body, your stomach is over how, all those things. So yeah, I think the first time I came up here, I couldn't even. Nah, I don't know. I couldn't. I kept smiling because I thought that's the only thing you do. Because all of us have seen programs where everyone is just smiling and everything. So I thought that's how being in front of the camera works. But yeah, eventually you get used to it. So yeah, that's the emotion I have.
all right. So, Stella,
Now I'll talk about happiness. I remember when I remember we had this tough aunt of ours. She could beat us, call at us, but when she left to the village, we were all happy. We were all happy. Everyone rejoiced, and we were like, "Oh, nango mkazi tumuonye." So yeah,
so that I don't know if it was happiness. I do not know how to put that into perspective. But at the end of the day, how old were you then? Is it currently or you are younger?
I was in primary. I think I was in P5.
Oh, yeah. So when you are young, of course, the way you relate to being punished is, I hope so, is different to how you relate with it when you are older. You realize that when you are older, you actually do not even get punished that much because you already know the right things to do and the wrong things to do. At the end of the day, you still get punished, but it is not as frequent as when you were younger. So that happiness you felt when she left when you are younger, I can relate in perspective with my cousin who once had a bigger sister, and the day the bigger sister goes to school, that is the day they throw a party. Like finally she has gone. And at that age, you don't realize that what your bigger sister was doing for you was actually to shape you up, was actually to help you grow while you are still a kid, while you are still young. But as a child, you know that life should be given, you should be in terms of being given sweets, food, and all that thing, being appreciated. And that isn't the truth always. And that brings us to emotional intelligence. I want to ask you, teens, do you know about emotional intelligence? Do you know anything? Have you ever even heard that word?
No, no.
You've never heard that word. So, a little bit of introduction on that. Emotional intelligence, you can actually go and Google it. They will help you. I hope it will, and I know it will. You can go and Google it, or you can go and watch videos of it. It's just a way of helping you be in charge of your emotions, helping you be in control of what you feel inside. Can you be able to feel angry without yelling at someone, without beating someone up? Can you be happy without dancing unnecessarily? Can you be sad without making sure that you rub it off on every other person? So, emotional intelligence will help you understand how to let's say how to regulate those emotions. Let's say there are two students. One got, let's say both of them got F's, let's say F9, F9 in a test. There is one student who will try to understand the root cause of F9. Of course, they will feel disappointment and they'll try to understand the root cause of that F9 because they have not liked being disappointed. They have not liked the emotion of disappointment. They'll try to understand the root cause of why they failed that paper. And then there's the other student who, after getting F9, usually in math, they will just conclude math is just not for me. They, actually, first of all, math is not for you. Then the teacher is also bad. Then secondly, the school is also bad. The class I'm in, even my stream is the worst. I can just not learn math because of all those things. First of all, you'll be able to understand that if maybe I talk to the ones who passed, I might also pass it. Instead of letting the feeling of disappointment give you the negative feeling towards mathematics. Of course, it will happen for every other subject, maybe English, maybe chemistry, and usually the science subjects. But at the end of the day, your feelings towards that subject will shape you on how you will always handle that specific subject. So, on emotional intelligence, I want you to, okay, I encourage you to go and I encourage you to go and learn more about it. If in at all you feel like your anger has taken charge of you. And on this point, let me say one small thing that I know a lot of people will disagree, not really disagree, but they might question it. That, like you said, emotions aren't evil, they are not demonic. Like how we have been taught that our dreams aren't bad. Even if you dreamt that someone is chasing you, about to kill you, it doesn't mean that you should never dream that that was a warning from God. Just like the emotion of usually anger is taken to be evil, but according to the Bible told us that you be angry, but don't let it. Okay, don't let the sun set while you're still that way. So the Bible has also seen that there is no way you can pretend to not have been not satisfied with your state of life at that point. So, on the teenager's approach to emotions, we have seen what Stella had to say, that at the end of the day, after she had been not happy with her aunt, she was happy that her aunt left. And now, by the way, now that you have grown, do you still want her to stay with you, or you don't want her to stay with you?
No,
You
but I learned very many things from her. That's the truth.
yeah, so even after you've learned very many things from her, you don't want to learn more. You've learned
I've
enough.
learned enough.
Okay. We hope so, that you actually you can never learn enough from someone. Maybe you think you have learned enough, but if you give her another chance, you realize that she has a lot more to teach you. So, on emotional intelligence, that is what we had to say. So that most of it is on Google. Let me welcome you, Lisa. I see you have a lot of notes and you aren't even halfway through it. What do you have to say more about teenagers' approach to emotions?
Let's approach to emotions. What I would like to say about teenagers' approach to emotion is that
Yeah.
don't allow emotions to take control over you. Though they happen, but do not allow them to take control over you. Is that when you allow emotions to take in a way that when you allow emotions to take control over you, is that some things might happen that you would not want them to happen, like anger. Some people, in marriages, people, let me say, married people, they allow emotions to take control over them. That's why you find that a husband has killed a wife. So we shouldn't allow emotions to take control over
Or even
us.
siblings.
Yeah,
Or even siblings, you find
yeah.
you've beaten your
Your
little sister
friend, your
because
sister.
they are younger than you, and at the end of the day, they cannot be at fault when you are the one in charge.
Yeah, we shouldn't allow emotions to take control over us. And there is something here that I noted, but
You can't find it.
ah, this is what I would like to tell all the teens who are out there is that wisdom says wait, emotions say hurry. So we shouldn't hurry. We shouldn't listen to emotions. That's what I have.
All right, you've heard wisdom says wait, and emotions will say hurry. So emotions, we don't have patience, but wisdom has patience. Shiro, do you have anything more to say about teenagers' approach to emotions?
Teenagers' approach to emotion. Hmm. I think I'll go with that. Don't let emotions take control of you. Don't let emotions define you. Many people let disappointment define them just because maybe you failed that one paper. We all know chem is hard. So maybe you failed like a chem paper as at school. When you fail a paper, you carry it very well straight to the dustbin. You don't even keep it. That's what we do. So the high school. So being a teenager is hard. Believe me, it is hard. That's the time you're getting book crashes. That's the time you know adolescents will always be adolescents. That's a fact, and that's the everything. So don't let emotions define you. Of course, age comes with its own good things. Begin crashing, begin beefing because that girl maybe according to the school opinion poll, she's the prettiest. You begin hating her. Banag. But like she said, don't let emotions take control of you. Anger will always lead to disaster. That's a fact. You find that you've broken something that you can't repair. You've ended a relationship that might have meant a lot to you over something very petty. Don't let emotions define you. Don't let emotions take control of you.
Oh yes, on that note, let us use Romans 8:28 that says all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called by his purpose. So just like we have said that don't let emotions control you. You be in control. Like we have learned that we are kings over our lives. So if life is inside of us, it means that it can sometimes express itself as emotion. So do not let life control you. Do not let emotions control you. Instead be in control of your life because all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. So we are assuming that you do love the Lord. If you don't, you can start. There's always the first time for everything. So I see, Stella, you have opened a page that you might want to talk about. Do you have something to say? All right. So a little bit on emotions. We are actually, it has been proven that a person experiences about 400 emotions in just one single day. So imagine if in all those 400 emotions you let them control you, you might end up either mad or I don't know. Because in, let's say, 1 minute, you can feel joy, happiness, sadness all at the same time. And if in one day you experience 400 of them, and all those 400 of them take control over your life, by the end of the day, you might need to go to Butabika or a mental hospital because you weren't able to control those emotions. That is why Genesis 1:27, which says that we have been created in God's image, should be able to help us in such circumstances. You know that because when I was young, I was told of holy anger, the kind of anger that God feels towards humankind when they sin. So I am not, because we have come to realize that when someone, let's say, wrongs is at fault because of something they have done to you, you will not be able to pretend that it is okay. You will not be able to say that it is fine, you can do it again. But are you capable of expressing your anger in a way that it sounds like love? Can you express your anger from a love perspective or your disappointment from a love perspective? Can you show someone that they have maybe hurt your feelings in a love perspective, or you are going to call them all sorts of names? You are going to start from, I don't know, I don't really want to say those names, but you are going to start from the worst name possible. You can never call someone to the most mild you can ever say to someone. So since our time is bad, let us look at the biblical truth about emotions, what God says about emotions. I see you have something to do with how to control emotions. Can we share that?
Okay. There are many ways to control emotions. Let me give a few, but not all. So the first thing is when you're emotional, the first thing you should do is to go in a quiet place and and pray. That can help. Praying and by the also crying. Crying can help. I'm telling you. Me when I'm angry sometimes, to release my anger, I just cry.
You cry.
Yeah, I just cry. And also another thing is to let go of the past. You should let go of the past because at times when you think of something that someone did to you, let me say last week or in the past, you bring back that emotion that you felt when someone was doing it to you. So you should let go of the past. That's all.
Yeah, on at that point you have said there's this thing that I wrote down that says that teenagers are usually not cut out to handle disappointment. Let's say someone disappointed you in the past, you were not able to tell it to their faces. You will definitely, if you kept it inside of you, you will definitely pass it on to another person. Usually what I do is that when someone, let's say, says something that is a little bit, and let's say it's expressing their anger in a way that isn't so loving, I begin to try and understand them. I say, so in their day to day, the day they have lived today, maybe something happened along the way that it might not even be me they are trying to leash out their anger at. Is that some person that is in their mind that they are still trying to express their anger at? Like how you tell your friends of something that happened to you and then they begin telling you of things you should have said. Yee, for you, if it was me, I would have told them this and this and this
You would
and this.
have called us, we help you.
Yeah, you would have called us, we help you. And you begin to wonder, did I do little to put that person in their places? This person who wronged me, did I just let them go like that? Or what I have done is enough? At the end of the day, you will try to do more when the next person wrongs you, not knowing that the actual reason you're angry isn't even the person you're talking to. It is the person in your mind who has wronged you before, and because you couldn't let go, the person is controlling you. So anyone has an idea on how to control your emotions?
Uh, Obviously, the number one thing anyone and everyone should do is pray, read the Bible. Of course, I know it sounds hard. Like when you're pissed, how do you begin opening the Bible to
Yeah,
read?
even your concentration, you have lost it already.
Yeah, but fact of the matter is, okay, if you can't read, because some people, when you get, funny enough, when I get angry, I laugh. When I'm very, very, very angry, I think my mind just doesn't know what to do. I laugh. And people think that I'm laughing because what they've done is little, but then I'm very hard in there. But then I just have to laugh. So if you're like me and you laugh, you can read. If you're those people who get this, they begin tearing things. You have a girl at school and she gets annoyed. She opens any book she finds and begins tearing pages. Mnange, don't touch the Bible, you'll tear pages and you can't put them back. So pray, just sit down. Don't think that praying when you're emotional means you begin, oh God, oh God, you begin
Yeah, yeah,
crying
yeah.
and everything. You just sit down and be like, Mananga, God, what's up? I'm pissed, but anyway, I know you have the best plans, and yeah, you just you just be chill. Yeah, I don't even know how
Yeah.
to
And
explain it, but
also and
just
also
chill.
meditating can help.
Oh, yeah, like what the Bible says that
Yeah.
this book of the law.
Yeah.
No.
On something good to take away that emotion. Yeah. Meditation can also help.
Yeah, meditation can help.
How
Like,
do you
if
meditate?
have you ever been in a Catholic school? They take people for retreats, and you are forced to sit alone and try to focus in the, let's say they take you to the recreation center, and then of course when you're together you'll end up talking. You have to be alone such that you can meditate. So you go and sit maybe under a tree, and then you are encouraged to look at the grass and you see how green it is.
Do those things work?
Yeah, at some point they work because let's say you're having interpersonal conversation with yourself. You are not having you know how the therapists do it. When you're angry, they tell you this is the chair, talk to the person you want to talk to. So that is some kind of the thing you are trying to do. You are
I
talking
won't lie.
to.
I thought those things are only for Bazungu. I won't lie. I didn't know they were.
They happen here in Uganda. Yeah, so yeah, now we have come to know that emotions aren't either good or bad. They have just expressed how something has affected you, how someone slapping you has affected you, or how someone insulting you has affected you. Like we have said, you can never pretend that someone insulting you has made you happy. You cannot go like yeah, like we are told that when you were younger at school, you will have to say thank you after you have been beaten. Of course, you did not understand that that was they were teaching you, but you are supposed to say thank you. You didn't feel grateful, but you are supposed to say it. But the more you grow up, the more you realize that oh, it's good that I said it anyway. You never reach that point.
How bad were they beat?
Okay, so Stella, do you have what to say? Uh,
May I think you can also ask your friends, like when you have like a feeling for this person. Yes,
Yeah,
you can
now
ask.
about friends, like we have said, you'll go and tell your friends. Yes, about your friends are always on your side. If you tell them that this person has wronged me or this thing is happening this way, your friends will always try to find out supporting that same feeling you're having. Like this person has really annoyed me. Your friend will also add, I tell that person, he's so bad. The other day they will bring experience. The other day I was also over at that same spot and they did that same thing.
What is it in chemistry? Catalyzers. Eh?
Yes,
These are
those
the.
ones, eh. So they will try to actually, if you're angry, they will try to increase the anger instead of trying to calm it down. The only time I have seen friends trying to do the opposite is when you are sad. Let's say you have lost someone and then you are sad. That is the only time they'll try to cheer you up. But when you are angry, when you are happy, when you're what, they will always try to support those same feelings you're having. So it is usually advisable to try and talk to someone who is not either your not your enemy, but not your friend, not so close to you.
That's why I argued with Josh. Having a bad friend is good in a way because they'll always be real with you. Even when you want to hear only praises, they'll tell you the facts that it is. So,
Yeah, so we have come to realize that friends will always, not really always, but usually they are on your side because they are usually like you. Like the Bible said, birds of the same feathers flock together. So there is a 90% chance that they will always react to that situation the way you did. They will never give you a different opinion. They will, but it is very on a very small scale. And we have also come to know that emotions aren't either good or bad. Before you don't like anger, right? So when you're feeling angry, you will try to escape away from it. But in that process of trying to escape away from it, you can do either two things. Try to do things that will make you happy or try to do things that will distract you from being angry. Either you will drink alcohol or you will, I don't know, go and sleep or and sleep might not even come. You will do things that will distract you, and those things will always result into things like guilt, shame, fear, and all those things. But the things that will try to lead you away from that feeling of anger are, let's say, are harder to do. Yeah, they are harder to do, like we talked about meditation. You are angry, you just don't know how someone can focus on grass to make them happy. Yeah. So it will work in different ways for a different person. Actually, let me ask you guys, have you ever talked to a counselor for anything? You school counselors, the senior woman teachers. Have you ever talked to a counselor for anything?
that no listens to problems.
You
I'm
are
the
the counselor.
counselor, parent.
So you have never gone to a counselor, let's say a teacher, old, someone older than you.
I think I have.
Lisa, have
Not
you?
sure.
Have you ever gone to someone older than you for advice or counselor, something like that? You have. Yeah. So that is, let's say I'm impressed because when we were younger, talking to a counselor meant that you always had this mind, this perspective that the first thing they will do, they will tell you that your what you're feeling is wrong, what you've experienced is wrong, and you just don't want to hear that. So taking that step of trying to talk to someone will become a little bit harder in trying to drive you away from the anger you are feeling. So on the part of the biblical truth about emotions, yeah, on that part, we will look at not all. That is where you are encouraged to read your Bible to know more. If this topic has been of interest to you, you can go and learn more through the Bible, through the Word of God. Like we have said here, we have agreed that anger isn't actually bad. It is just a way to show you what a situation made you feel. So, but someone else will argue that you are not supposed to feel anger at all. You are not supposed to feel it at all. And I don't know how you can do that, but someone else will tell you how to do it. That is why you are encouraged to learn intensively on these things. So, on the biblical truth about emotions, I have come to realize that emotions should not lead you to sin. Ephesians 4:26 to 27. Your anger should not lead you to sin. Like we have come to realize that emotions aren't either good or bad. So it is just the devil who uses them to make them good or bad. You can be angry and still use it in a way that will show love. You can be happy and still use it in a way that will destroy someone. You can use your happiness to belittle someone. Let's say you got the best mark in class and you're happy, and then someone else got maybe less than you, and you use your happiness to make them feel bad about themselves. That hasn't been a labor of love. That hasn't been, actually, that has been seen. Let's say that it has been seen. And you cannot say that because you were happy and you try to express it to someone else without being sensitive of how they will feel about you getting 100% and them getting maybe a 20, you have done the right thing. You definitely have not. So let me welcome you. I see you have a scripture, and I see you also have scriptures or biblical truth about emotions and Shira.
Okay. Me, what I would like to say is that God gave us emotions for a reason. Living by faith doesn't mean that we ignore them. And for an example, it's like when you don't have food at home, the Bible tells us that we shouldn't worry about tomorrow. But it doesn't take away that feeling that you're sad that I don't have food at home. Emotions are not bad. And what I'd like to talk about is anger, the emotion of anger. In the book of James, chapter 1, verse 19 to 20, where the Bible tells us that be slow to speak, be slow to speak, and slow to wrath. Where wrath is anger. Some people hurry to be angry or get angry very fast. So we shouldn't be how should I explain it?
You shouldn't be fast to
Yeah,
anger.
you shouldn't be fast to anger.
Or you should not let anger control you, like you said at the beginning.
Yeah, that's what I would like to say.
All right, Shiro. You always have ideas. Tell us. All right, Stella. What are the biblical truths you know about emotions? What does the Bible tell you about emotions? And you have agreed that this is true. I have seen it. Okay. So the other thing is that the Bible tells us that there is time for everything. In Ecclesiastes 3:4 to 6, it will talk about some bit of emotions. There are time to be sad and happy, meaning that God has accepted all those contrasts that of being sad and of being happy. But He has also given you the capacity to be in control of them. He has given you the capacity to be sad and not ruin your life, but rather learn something from it. He has given you the capacity to be angry and not let it control you, or not let it be destructive. And He has also given you the capacity to feel joy. To me, joy looks like the result of being happy. It doesn't feel like an emotion to me. It is the happiness that is the emotion. You could say it is, if you believe it is, that joy could be like the result of happiness. And Ecclesiastes 3:4-6 has said that there is time for everything under the sun, the time to cry, the time to laugh, the time to be sad, and the time to rejoice, the time to do all those things. I am not finding my Ecclesiastes, but I hope the message has gone through. Then emotions are not demonic. It doesn't matter what you are feeling. It is the things that you do with them that can either be demonic or godly. Can someone anger you and you still be able to live in love, or can someone anger you and you destroy them? Now that part of destruction becomes demonic, and the other part of trying to express love with how the person has made you feel is the, let's say, the angelic bit, the godly part of it. Emotions also direct us in 2 Corinthians 5:7. Let me read this one. 2 Corinthians 5:7. It says that, for we walk by faith, not by sight. So what you see will always translate into a thought in your mind, but you have faith, and let's say faith does not deny reality, but faith always hopes for the better, for let's say for better things. when s- when uh, when something that is disappointing happens to you, your when something that is disappointing happens to you, your first thought will be to react in the negative way. But the faith that you have inside of you will give you the hope that this too will pass, like the Bible has said. There is nothing new under the sun. People have been disappointed again and again and again, and they have passed through it, and they have been victorious over it. And you too can be victorious over it, over disappointment. Like, we have come to realize that, like mathematics, it isn't as hard as people might say it. Maybe some people will disagree, but because the first time you didn't pass it, it gave you that negative feeling towards it. You have never wanted to do better. You have never wanted to do different from what you did before. And that is why you said the teacher of mathematics, the class of mathematics, and the tests are just the worst. And then the Bible also tells us that you can take charge of your own emotions by focusing on the promises of God. Colossians 3, Colossians 3:2. In Colossians 3:2, we are being encouraged to focus on the word of God. And Colossians, mm, yeah,
Um, Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth.
exactly. Set your affection. I like that one. Set your affection on things above, not things on the earth. Like we have said, that your sight, your five senses will give you the idea of your five senses will give you the idea of what to feel, of how food tasted bad and how to feel about that, and how someone said some an insulting word and how to feel about that. But also the things above will tell you on how to overcome those things, how to overcome those feelings. So as we wrap up, you are encouraged to, like I said, to go and learn more about emotional intelligence, which will help you to be in control of your life. And you will look, if you learn about it with an open mind, you realize that there is everything that is biblical about it. So, any closing remarks? Or you have something to say about emotions too?
I have said everything. Don't let emotions define you. Don't let emotions control you. If you're feeling anything, talk to someone, talk to a friend, pray. Yeah. And don't talk to these people who light casigiri there. When you have a problem, the ones who add, how do I explain?
Like
Just look
Kasigiri.
for someone sensible to talk to. Don't look for people who will just worsen your situation.
All right, listen.
And what I would like to say, is that we shouldn't allow emotions to take control of us. Like she said, the first thing we should do when we have emotions is to take look at the impact of it, and then it will calm us down. So that's it.
I've also learned to to control our emotions.
All right, so finally, we are closing, and I would like to encourage you to always be at the place of love. You will always feel all those negative emotions. You will always feel all those disappointments. You will feel all those things you do not want to feel. But at the end of the day, can you stay at the place of love even when you feel at your worst? Can you be disappointed and still operate in love? Can you not get 100% and still operate in love? And like the Bible said, the greatest of them all is love. So to our viewers out there, this is the Saints Christian Center, and we are trying to fulfill our destinies in love. That is where we have learned these things. So you are also encouraged to watch our previous videos to understand more on what we are talking here, because you heard she talked about self-control. Actually, that one you can go and get it in our adult church. You're also encouraged to go and watch those sermons. They will help you understand what we are talking about here, or they will give you a better opinion of what we are talking about here. Thank you, and be blessed as you
Follow, like, comment, subscribe. What else did I do on YouTube? I don't
turn
know
on
all
post
those ones.
notifications.
All those
Yeah, all
ones. Do
those.
all of them.
Thank you.